chosen one, this is not an ordinary moment. February 21st is not just another date on your calendar. It is a divine timestamp, a spiritual deadline, a line drawn between delay and destiny. Stop scrolling. Only 10 seconds left is not just urgency. It is heaven's alarm ringing directly over your life. Archangel Michael is standing in the unseen realm right now. Not in silence, not in distance, but in authority. And in his hands, there is something that has never been released before in this measure, a $1 trillion miracle check. And listen carefully, your signature is already on it. You did not sign it yesterday. You did not sign it last week. Your obedience signed it. Your tears signed it. Your silent prayers at 2 a.m. signed it. The battles you survived without quitting placed your name on that heavenly document long before you realized it. And now, there are only seconds left in the spirit. This is not about money alone. This is about provision, restoration, open doors, supernatural clearance of what has been blocking you. The check represents divine compensation for the warfare you endured. It represents overflow after drought. It represents acceleration after years of slow progress. But here is the shocking revelation. If not claimed in alignment and faith before 9 p.m., it returns to the heavenly treasury. Yes, heaven has treasuries. The reason many never receive is not because God withholds. It is because hesitation closes the window. Doubt delays activation. Fear freezes movement. And tonight, Archangel Michael is not fighting your enemies. He is guarding your release. You feel that shift, don't you? There has been a strange tension in your spirit recently. A petu, an urgency you cannot explain. That is not anxiety. That is divine timing pressing against earthly delay. Something is about to move, and you were warned ahead of time because you are chosen to respond. Look at your life carefully. Have you noticed unusual signs lately? Repeated numbers, random confirmations, conversations about money, breakthrough, inheritance, opportunity. These are not coincidences. These are spiritual notifications. February 21st carries a prophetic alignment. The number 2 represents witness. The number 1 represents beginning. Together, 2-21 becomes witness the beginning. This is the day you witness the beginning of overflow. But the enemy knows this too. That is why distractions increased this week. That is why fatigue tried to sit on your shoulders. That is why self-doubt whispered, nothing is changing. It was an attempt to make you scroll past your moment. And yet, you are still here. That means something. Archangel Michael does not move randomly. He is assigned to defend destiny, to enforce divine decrees, and to stand as a warrior over covenant promises. If he is holding something with your name on it, it means it was approved in heaven. The check is symbolic of transfer. Transfer of wealth. Transfer of favor. Transfer of authority. Transfer of opportunity. But heaven operates on response. You must claim what is already yours. Claiming does not mean begging. It means agreeing. It means aligning your words with what has already been written in the Spirit. It means refusing to disqualify yourself because of past mistakes. Listen closely. There was a delay attached to your name. Not denial, delay. And that delay has expired. The clock that once worked against you is now working for you. The same time that drained you is now about to reward you. But here is the urgency again. At 9 p.m., the cycle closes. This is not about fear. This is about faith in motion. Archangel Michael is standing as witness that this is your hour to act boldly, to declare, to step forward internally before anything changes externally. Ask yourself honestly, are you ready to receive something bigger than you imagined? Because many pray for overflow, but when overflow comes, they shrink back. They question it. They sabotage it. They say, "This is too much for me." Not this time. You have been prepared quietly, strengthened secretly, tested privately. What is about to manifest publicly is not luck. It is culmination. And here is the deepest truth: the trillion-dollar miracle check represents value. Heaven sees your value beyond what people have measured, beyond what your bank account shows, beyond what critics have said. You are undervalued by people, but not by God. The check is heaven's statement. You are worth the investment. But activation requires agreement. So in this moment, breathe. Center yourself. Refuse distraction. This is not random content you stumbled upon. This is a divine interruption. February 21st is your wake-up call. Archangel Michael is not asking you to chase the blessing. He is asking you to stand and receive it with confidence. The next words you speak matter. The next thoughts you entertain matter. The next decision you make before 9 p.m. matters. Because something is shifting tonight. And you are not watching this by accident. Beloved warrior of destiny, what you are about to understand will change how you see this entire moment. The trillion-dollar miracle check is not paper. It is permission. It is authorization from heaven for a transfer that has already been processed in the spirit. And Archangel Michael is not holding it casually. He is guarding it because what is attached to your name carries weight. You have been in a season where everything felt delayed. Doors closed. Calls unanswered. Opportunities almost within reach, then suddenly pulled away. You questioned yourself. You wondered if you misunderstood God. But what you did not see was that heaven was finalizing numbers you could not calculate. Adjustments were being made behind the veil. Contracts were being reviewed in the unseen realm. February 21st is the release date of what was pending. And here is what most people do not realize. When heaven prepares to release something massive, it tests your reaction before it arrives. The tension you felt this week was not random pressure. It was preparation. If you break under pressure, you mismanage overflow. If you stay steady, you steward miracles. Archangel Michael stands as a spiritual enforcer. He ensures that what belongs to you is not stolen, not rerouted, not reassigned. But he cannot override your hesitation. If you disqualify yourself with doubt, you delay the activation. Right now, the spirit realm is waiting for your agreement. Say within yourself, "I'm ready." Not arrogantly, not fearfully, but confidently. Because the check is already signed. Your name is written. And the amount is not limited to finances. It includes restoration of relationships. It includes opportunities that multiply. It includes influence that expands beyond your current circle. But here is the urgency again. At 9 p.m., the treasury closes this specific window. Do not misunderstand. God's love does not expire. But certain windows of acceleration are time-sensitive. Divine alignment has moments. When you move in that moment, things happen quickly. When you hesitate, the next cycle may take longer. And this is why you were interrupted today. There are thousands scrolling right now. Yet you stopped. That means your spirit recognized something your mind is still catching up to. Archangel Michael is not random. He appears where battle meets breakthrough. and you are standing at that intersection. There is something else you must hear clearly. The enemy tried to convince you that you are behind in life. Behind financially. Behind spiritually. Behind compared to others. That was a lie designed to make you feel unqualified for abundance. You are not behind. You were being positioned. Positioning feels like delay when you do not see the blueprint. But when the structure is complete, suddenly everything makes sense. The jet represents structure, stability, security, overflow that does not disappear overnight. However, there is a response required from you today. Engagement activates alignment. Agreement accelerates manifestation. If this message is speaking directly to your spirit, do not stay silent. Let your voice move with your faith. Comment your agreement. Declare your readiness. When you interact, when you type, when you respond, you are not just engaging a video, you are activating intention. Share this with someone who feels stuck. Subscribe to this channel if you are ready to walk consistently in divine alignment. Like this message if you believe heaven is shifting something in your favor. Because the more this message spreads, the more people will catch their moment before it closes. And listen carefully. What unfolds next will reveal why the deadline is exactly 9 p.m. and not a minute later. There is a hidden reason, connected to spiritual cycles and divine accounting that most people have never been taught. Hold your focus here, because what you are about to hear will make everything click into place. Faithful soul, the reason 9 p.m. matters is not random, and it is not symbolic without meaning. It is prophetic timing. In the spiritual realm, evening hours often represent transition. When one cycle closes and another begins. Throughout history, divine decisions have unfolded at the edge of the day, when light meets shadow. February 21st at 9 p.m. is that edge for you. Archangel Michael is standing at a gate. Not a physical gate, but a threshold in the unseen realm. On one side is everything that has defined your struggle. On the other side is compensated restoration. The trillion-dollar miracle cheque is not floating in imagination. It is secured at that threshold, waiting for your conscious agreement before the hour shifts. There is something powerful about agreement before a deadline. It demonstrates readiness. It proves alignment. Heaven responds to bold faith expressed within appointed time. That is why you feel urgency in your spirit. It is not fear pushing you. It is divine momentum pulling you forward. You have endured seasons that drained you emotionally. You gave when you had little. You forgave when it hurt. You stayed faithful when quitting would have been easier. Every one of those moments deposited something into the heavenly treasury under your name. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was ignored. Nothing slipped past the watchful eyes of the one who sees all. And Archangel Michael was there. When you fought silent battles in your mind, he stood guard. When unseen opposition tried to block your growth, he enforced protection. When discouragement whispered that your prayers were unheard, he carried evidence of your endurance into heavenly record. The check he holds is not charity. It is justice. But justice requires participation. If you shrink back now, you must align with the release. If you step forward in faith, you synchronize with the transfer. This is why your words tonight matter. Speak abundance. Speak gratitude before you see it. Speak restoration before it manifests. You are not pretending. You are aligning. February 21st is your pivot point. There is a reason you have felt a subtle sense that something was about to break open. Doors that seem sealed are weakening. Barriers that look permanent are cracking quietly. The spiritual atmosphere around you is shifting because heaven has already authorized movement. However, Listen carefully. Blessings at this level attract attention. Not everyone around you will understand what is happening. Some may even question your sudden shift. But this is not the time to seek validation from people. It is the time to respond to heaven. Archangel Michael does not hesitate when given instruction. He moves with clarity, and he is inviting you to mirror the clarity. No overthinking, no self-sabotage, no replaying past failures. Tonight is about decisive alignment. The check symbolizes expansion of capacity, expansion of territory, expansion of influence. When you receive what is attached to your name, you will not think small anymore. You will not settle for survival. You will step into stewardship of overflow. And here is the deeper revelation. This miracle is not only about you. It is about impact. When you rise, others connected to you rise. When your resources increase, your reach increases. When your stability strengthens, your family feels security. Heaven multiplies through vessels willing to receive. But the window closes at 9 p.m. because cycles must remain orderly. Heaven operates with structure. Appointments are precise. This is not manipulation. It is divine rhythm. Just as seasons change at appointed times, so do releases. Right now, imagine Archangel Michael holding that check, your name clearly written, the amount representing restoration beyond calculation. He is not anxious. He is not uncertain. He is waiting for your internal yes. Say it boldly in your heart. I receive what heaven has prepared for me. I align with divine timing. I step into overflow without fear. This is not arrogance. It is obedience. As you stand in agreement, know that acceleration begins subtly. Conversations shift. Opportunities surface. Unexpected favor appears. What seemed complicated becomes smooth. This is how transfer manifests in the natural realm. February 21st will not be remembered as an ordinary date in your life. It will be remembered as the moment you chose faith over hesitation. Type I receive the release in the comments if this is speaking directly to your spirit. Blessing code 2121 has just been activated over your life. And as this gate stands open, understand something sacred. When you sow into a moment like this, you participate in the spread of light. If this message has stirred your spirit, let your response become action. Through super thanks, membership, or a PayPal offering in the description, you are not giving to a platform. You are sowing into a river that carries God's word to souls on the edge of breakthrough. The Lord says, as you pour, I will pour back into you, pressed down and overflowing. When you feel the nudge to act, that is your obedience aligning with heaven's treasury. Do not delay your seed when the ground is fertile. Those who release support and faith will see doors open in ways they did not expect. Step into this prophetic moment and activate your participation now. Anointed listener, something has already shifted since the moment you declared your agreement. You may not see it yet with physical eyes, but the atmosphere around your name has changed. When you aligned your heart with heaven's timing, a signal was released. Archangel Michael did not remain standing still. Movement began. Your transactions in the spirit that happen faster than light. Adjustments that take years in the natural can be resolved in seconds in the unseen realm. That is why faith is so powerful. It bypasses visible limitation and connects directly to divine authority. And when authority moves, obstacles cannot negotiate. Right now, conversations are being influenced. Decisions are being redirected. Paths that once seemed closed are being reconsidered. The check represents authorized transfer, but the manifestation unfolds in layers. First alignment, then spiritual enforcement, then visible evidence. You are between enforcement and evidence. This is the most sensitive stage. Many people lose focus here. They expect instant fireworks, and when they do not see immediate change, doubt creeps in. But this is the quiet construction phase. The foundation is being reinforced so that what comes does not collapse under its own weight. Archangel Michael is not only guarding your miracle, he is stabilizing the environment it will enter. If overflow arrived into chaos, it would scatter. If abundance entered without structure, it would leak. So heaven prepares the vessel before pouring the oil. And you are that vessel. Have you noticed a growing sense of clarity recently? A sharpening of discernment? Certain distractions no longer appeal to you. Certain relationships feel misaligned. This is not random distancing. It is divine refinement. The capacity you are stepping into requires focus. The trillion-dollar miracle check symbolizes magnitude, but magnitude requires maturity. Heaven does not release massive responsibility into unprepared hands. The fact that your name is written means preparation has been observed and approved. Yet there is still something you must guard carefully tonight: your mindset. The enemy's last attempt is subtle. It will not come as loud fear. It will come as quiet rationalization. Thoughts like, maybe this message is exaggerated, or perhaps I should not expect too much. That is the voice of limitation trying to reclaim territory it is losing. Refuse that voice. Expectation is not greed. Expectation rooted in faith is agreement with divine promise. When you expect with humility, you honor the one who prepared the gift. February 21st is unfolding hour by hour. The closer you move toward 9 p.m., the more intensified the spiritual activity becomes. Think of it like the final moments before sunrise. Darkness often appears deepest right before light breaks through. If you feel slight resistance increasing, that is confirmation that breakthrough is near. Archangel Michael stands with unwavering authority. He does not flinch. He does not reconsider. What has been assigned to you will not be stolen, but you must remain steady in agreement. There is also another layer to this miracle. It is not only about what you receive, but who you become after receiving it. Abundance changes identity, not because it defines you, but because it reveals you. When pressure is removed, your true calling surfaces clearly. You were never meant to live in constant survival mode. Survival limits vision. Overflow expands vision. And heaven needs your vision expanded because your assignment is larger than you think. The check is symbolic of release, but it is also symbolic of commissioning. When resources increase, responsibility increases. When doors open, influence expands. This is not random blessing. This is strategic empowerment. Some people around you may sense your shift before you speak about it. They may notice confidence rising, calm replacing anxiety, certainty replacing confusion. That is alignment radiating outward. As this hour progresses, protect your peace. Avoid unnecessary arguments. Avoid environments that drain you. Stay internally centered. Speak gratitude in advance. Thank God for what is already done in the unseen. Because here is the truth. Heaven does not tease. It prepares and it releases. Archangel Michael is not holding a blank promise. He is holding authorized compensation. And as the evening approaches, the final seals are being checked. Nothing missing. Nothing broken. Nothing delayed beyond its appointed time. This is your transition moment. Breathe deeply. Feel the weight of expectancy without fear. You are not chasing something fragile. You are receiving something secured. And what unfolds next will reveal why your signature was placed long before you even believed you qualified. Steadfast heart, there is something you must understand now that the atmosphere has shifted. Your signature was not placed on that miracle check at the moment you prayed for it. It was placed the moment you survived what should have broken you. Long before February 21st appeared on your calendar, heaven had already recorded your endurance. The nights you cried in silence. The days you showed up with strength even when you felt empty. The times you chose integrity when shortcuts were available. Those were not small decisions. Those were signature moments. Archangel Michael witnessed those moments. While you thought you were simply enduring hardship, there was documentation happening in the spirit. Evidence of faith. Evidence of loyalty. Evidence of resilience. And heaven does not ignore evidence. It responds to it. The trillion-dollar miracle check represents accumulated reward. Not luck. Not coincidence. Accumulated spiritual credit. There is a difference between sudden blessing and prepared release. What is coming to you is prepared. But here is a deeper layer. When your signature was placed on that check, it was not written in ink. It was written in code. Covenant means promise backed by authority. It means what was approved cannot be casually revoked. However, covenant also requires belief. If you treat this moment lightly, you dilute its power. If you approach it casually, you miss its weight. February 21st is not dramatic for entertainment. It is specific for alignment. The reason urgency surrounds this date is because cycles are closing behind you. You cannot step into expanded territory while clinging to expired identity. And that is what tonight is truly about. Identity shift. You have seen yourself through the lens of limitation for too long. You have measured your potential based on current circumstances. You have defined your future based on past patterns. But heaven defines you based on calling, not condition. Archangel Michael is not holding a check for the version of you that doubts. He is holding it for the version of you that rises. Can you feel that tension? It is the stretching of identity. The old mindset resisting release. The new mindset pushing forward. This internal shift is necessary before external evidence appears. Because when the miracle manifests, you must recognize it. If you are still thinking small, you may overlook large opportunity. If you are still bracing for disappointment, you may misinterpret favor as coincidence. Stay alert. There are subtle signs already unfolding. A random message. An unexpected idea. A door that slightly opens. These are early tremors before the main release. Heaven often whispers before it thunders. As 9 p.m. approaches, the spiritual atmosphere tightens. Not with fear, but with focus. Archangel Michael is ensuring that interference is neutralized. There will be no theft of this blessing. No eroding. No delay beyond what was necessary for preparation. But you must remain in agreement. Guard your thoughts carefully tonight. If doubt arises, counter it immediately with gratitude. If fear whispers, answer with faith. If impatience surfaces, breathe and remember that divine timing is precise. This miracle is not arriving to oppress others. It is arriving to reposition you. Reposition you financially. Reposition you emotionally. Reposition you spiritually. There are rooms you will enter soon where you once felt unqualified. There are conversations you will lead where you once felt silent. There are opportunities you will handle where you once hesitated. The check symbolizes capacity, and capacity requires courage. Do not shrink back when expansion begins. Do not question your worth when favor increases. The same God who allowed you to endure scarcity is now allowing you to experience overflow. And here is something few understand. Overflow tests character just as much as hardship does. Will you remain humble? Will you remain generous? Will you remain aligned? Archangel Michael stands not only as protector, but as witness. Witness to your growth. Witness to your transformation. Witness to the moment you step fully into agreement. Tonight is not about chasing wealth. It is about receiving restoration. It is about reclaiming what delay tried to steal. It is about stepping into the version of your life that was always meant to unfold. The treasury is not closing to punish you. It is closing to mark transition. Once the hour passes, a new cycle begins. But what you secure in this window accelerates what comes next. Stand steady. Feel the weight of what is shifting. The signature was placed because you were seen as ready. And what unfolds in the next moments will reveal the final confirmation that this release is already in motion. Courageous one. The final stretch before manifestation is always the most intense. Not because something is wrong, but because everything is aligning. Think of a bow being pulled back before the arrow is released. The tension is necessary for distance. The pressure is required for precision. What you are feeling right now is that sacred tension. Archangel Michael has not stepped away. In fact, his presence around your destiny is stronger than ever. The trillion-dollar miracle check is still secured, but now the spiritual atmosphere is vibrating with completion. The enforcement phase is almost done. What remains is your unwavering stance. There is a subtle test that happens at this stage. It is the test of consistency. Can you hold faith without visible proof? Can you speak confidence without external confirmation? Can you remain aligned even when the clock ticks louder? This is where many falter. They were bold in the beginning, excited in the middle, but hesitant near the end. Do not let that be your story. You have come too far to retreat at the edge of breakthrough. February 21st carries weight because it represents culmination. Everything you endured was leading to this pivot. And yet, culmination does not always look dramatic at first. Sometimes it looks like calm certainty. Sometimes it looks like an inner knowing that refuses to be shaken. That inner knowing is rising in you right now. You are beginning to sense that this is bigger than emotion, bigger than hype, bigger than imagination. Something real is moving. Something measurable will follow. The check is symbolic, yes, but the results will be tangible. Here is also something you must be careful about in this hour. Do not share your expectation with those who cannot carry it. Not everyone understands divine timing. Not everyone respects spiritual alignment. Protect this moment like a seed planted in fertile soil. Seeds grow in quiet places before they break through the surface. Archangel Michael stands like a guardian at the gate of your next level. He is not only holding blessing, he is filtering interference. If certain distractions suddenly fall away, do not chase them. If certain people distance themselves, do not panic. Not everything that leaves is loss. Sometimes it is clearance. As you move closer to the appointed hour, speak gratitude continuously. Gratitude is agreement in advance. Gratitude stabilizes faith. Gratitude keeps your heart aligned with humility. And listen carefully. Your response right now matters beyond this single moment. When you engage, when you declare, when you participate, you anchor the shift. So if this message is strengthening you, let your faith move visibly. Like this message. Share it with someone who feels on the edge of breakthrough. Comment your declaration boldly. Subscribe to this channel if you are committed to walking in divine alignment consistently. Join the membership if you feel called to stand in deeper agreement with this mission. Because engagement is not just digital activity, it is participation in momentum. And before you move away from this moment, understand something profound. The reason this revelation found you is because you are not average. You are spiritually sensitive. You recognize timing when it calls your name. Thousands may hear words, but only a few discern activation. The activation is happening now. Archangel Michael is not rushing, but the hour is approaching. There is a holy seriousness in the atmosphere. Not fear, not pressure, but focus. When heaven focuses, outcomes change quickly. You may feel waves of calm alternating with waves of anticipation. That is normal. Your spirit is adjusting to expansion. Your mind is catching up with what your soul already accepted. Stand steady. This is the moment where alignment becomes manifestation. And what you are about to understand next will clarify why the treasury does not simply hold this check indefinitely, but releases it according to divine cycles that cannot be postponed. Stay attentive, because the revelation ahead will solidify everything you have sensed so far. Watchful soul, there is a reason the heavenly treasury does not hold this check indefinitely. It is not because heaven runs out. It is because timing governs transfer. Divine cycles move with precision, and when a window opens, it opens for alignment, not hesitation. You must understand something deeper now. The treasury represents stored obedience, stored prayers, stored faithfulness. Heaven keeps record of every sacrifice made in sincerity, but release is connected to readiness. If a blessing remains unclaimed during its appointed cycle, it does not disappear. It is reassigned to another timeline. That is why February 21st carries urgency. This is your timeline intersecting with preparation. Years of endurance have converged with a specific hour. Archangel Michael stands as witness that you have reached maturity for this level of release. But maturity must act. There are spiritual laws just as real as physical ones. Gravity pulls objects downward. Alignment pulls blessing toward agreement. When you align your thoughts, words, and expectations with divine intention, movement accelerates naturally. But if you hesitate, the cycle continues without you. Do not misunderstand this. God's love does not move on from you, but opportunities rotate. Assignments shift. Windows close and new ones open later. The difference is time, and time matters. You have already waited long enough. The check is not simply about wealth. It is about restoration of lost time, acceleration of delayed progress, recovery of energy that hardship drained. When heaven compensates, it does not add slowly. It restores abundantly. Archangel Michael's presence signals that what is at stake is protected territory. This is not a minor blessing. This is expansion that alters direction. That is why interference tried to intensify near the deadline. The closer you come to breakthrough, the louder resistance attempts to speak. Have you noticed random distractions trying to steal your focus today? Small irritations, unexpected interruption, death attempting to creep in quietly. These are final efforts to disconnect you from alignment. Stay centered. The most powerful position right now is calm confidence, not emotional excitement, not anxious striving, calm certainty. When you stand in certainty, you signal readiness. And here is something profound. Certainty does not mean you understand every detail. It means you trust the one who does. Archangel Michael does not reveal the full blueprint. He ensures execution of what has already been approved. Your role is agreement. His role is enforcement. As the evening unfolds, Imagine the heavenly treasury like a vault of golden light. Inside it are records of your endurance, your prayers, your sacrifices. The check bearing your name is drawn from that vault because the account has reached fullness. Fullness means completion of preparation. But completion requires participation. This is not about begging heaven to move. Heaven has already moved. This is about you stepping into the current that is flowing. The current is strong right now. You may feel waves of clarity, sudden ideas surfacing, a sense that you must make certain decisions soon. These are early manifestations. Breakthrough rarely arrives without instruction. Pay attention to impressions that bring peace rather than fear. And understand this carefully. The miracle may not appear in the exact form you imagined. It may arrive as opportunity instead of cash, as partnership instead of isolation, as strategy instead of sudden deposit. But its value will exceed expectation. Do not limit it with narrow imagination. The trillion-dollar language represents magnitude beyond calculation. It represents value that cannot be reduced to numbers. Heaven measures abundance differently than the world does. You are stepping into divine valuation. As the final hour approaches, refuse to shrink. Refuse to doubt. Refuse to treat this moment as ordinary. You were interrupted for a reason. You were positioned for a reason. You were prepared for a reason. Archangel Michael is not holding that check for someone more qualified. He is holding it for you because qualification was developed through endurance. The cycle is about to seal. Stand firm in agreement. Let your spirit remain steady. And in the next unfolding revelation, you will understand why your response in these final moments determines not only what you receive, but how quickly it multiplies once it arrives. Radiant soul, multiplication is the secret hidden inside this moment. What you are about to receive is not meant to remain static. The trillion-dollar miracle check is not a one-time event. It is a catalyst. It is a seed disguised as compensation. And how you respond determines how it multiplies once it manifests. Archangel Michael is not only guarding a release, he is overseeing a transition into stewardship. There is a difference between receiving and managing. Many people celebrate arrival but fail in expansion because they were prepared for breakthrough but not for responsibility. You, however, have been shaped in hidden places. Think about everything you endured. The discipline learned through lack. The wisdom gained through mistakes. The discernment sharpened through betrayal. None of it was random. Those experiences trained you to handle overflow without arrogance. Multiplication flows where humility remains. As February 21st moves closer to its closing hour, the spiritual atmosphere becomes charged with finalization. The treasury is ready. The authorization is sealed. The signature is confirmed. But heaven is observing one more thing, your posture. Are you ready to handle increase without losing alignment? This is not a trick question. It is an invitation to elevate your thinking. When abundance arrives, it amplifies what already exists in your heart. If gratitude is present, gratitude multiplies. If generosity is present, generosity extends. If insecurity remains, insecurity grows louder. This is why this moment feels intense. It is refining your interior before enlarging your exterior. Archangel Michael stands steady, a symbol of strength without pride. That is your model. Strength rooted in purpose, not ego. Authority expressed with peace, not control. The check represents opportunity at a scale that stretches imagination. But it will unfold in layers. First access, then growth, then influence. Multiplication happens when you treat what you receive as a trust rather than a trophy. There are people, connected to your future who will benefit from your obedience tonight. Family members who will experience relief. Communities that will feel impact. Seeds you plant will grow into forests you may never fully see. That is how divine multiplication works. But it begins with agreement. If doubt whispers that you are unworthy of increase, silence it immediately. Worthiness was established through covenant, not perfection. Preparation qualified you. Faith activated you. And here is a deeper revelation. When you step into multiplication, you become a channel, not a container. Blessings flow through channels. Containers hold temporarily. Channels distribute continuously. Heaven prefers channels. As the hour approaches, feel the seriousness of this assignment. You are not simply claiming a miracle. You are stepping into responsibility that carries impact beyond personal comfort. This is why your name was written. Not just to receive, but to release. Type "I step into multiplication" in the comments if this resonates with your spirit. Blessing code 8282 has just been activated over your life. And as you step into this revelation, understand that your response now echoes beyond this screen. When you sow into this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not funding content. You are fueling multiplication. The Lord declares, as you give, it shall be given back to you, overflowing and pressed down. When you act in generosity, you become a channel for light to reach souls who are on the brink of their own breakthrough. Do not delay your obedience when heaven is moving. Those who release their support and faith will see doors expand in unexpected ways. Activate your seed now and let it flow like a river into the lives waiting for hope. The treasury remains open, but the cycle is tightening. And what unfolds next will reveal the final spiritual key that determines whether this multiplication accelerates immediately or unfolds gradually over time. Stay anchored, because the closing revelation carries the weight of decision. Awakened one, the final spiritual key is not effort. It is surrender. Not passive surrender, but aligned surrender. The kind that releases control while holding confidence. The kind that says, I trust the process because I trust the one who authored it. Multiplication accelerates when surrender replaces strain. You have spent years striving, playing, calculating, trying to make outcomes happen through force. But what is unfolding now does not respond to force. It responds to faith-filled release. Archangel Michael is not fighting to convince heaven to bless you. The blessing is already approved. The only friction left is internal resistance. There is a subtle difference between anticipation and anxiety. Anticipation expects good. Anxiety fears loss. As the hour moves closer to 9 p.m., your emotional state matters more than you realize. If you remain grounded in calm expectation, you align with acceleration. If you spiral into anxious overthinking, you slow your own reception. This is why surrender is the final key. Surrender says, I receive without grasping. It says, I align without forcing. It says, I trust divine timing more than my own urgency. And in that space, multiplication flows naturally. Archangel Michael stands as a reminder that strength does not equal strain. His posture is firm yet peaceful. That is the energy you must embody now. Not desperate, not frantic, not trying to prove readiness. Simply steady. The trillion-dollar miracle check is symbolic of magnitude, but magnitude must land on stability. Stability is created through surrendered confidence. Think back to every moment you tried to control outcomes in the past. How exhausting it felt. How unpredictable results were. Now compare that to moments when you trusted and allowed events to unfold. Doors open more smoothly. Opportunities aligned unexpectedly. That is the pattern you are stepping into permanently. February 21st is not about one miracle. It is about a lifestyle shift. From scarcity mindset to overflow mindset. From control to trust. From striving to stewardship. And here is something profound. When you surrender properly, you do not become passive. You become powerful. Because you are no longer reacting to fear. You are responding to purpose. As the spiritual treasury prepares to seal this cycle, the atmosphere feels almost still, like the quiet before a declaration. That stillness is sacred. Do not misinterpret it as delay. It is confirmation that alignment hath been reached. You may notice your breathing slowing, your thoughts calming, a deep sense that something is already done, that is surrender taking root. Archangel Michael is not rushing you. He is watching for peace in your posture. When peace settles, release follows quickly. And understand this clearly, multiplication will look different than you expect. It may begin as one strategic opportunity that expands into several. It may start with one conversation that unlocks a network. It may appear as one idea that generates streams of provision. Do not despise small beginnings. Multiplication always starts with a seed. The cheque represents the seed's value, not just its size. When planted correctly, even symbolic abundance grows into tangible overflow. As 9 p.m. approaches, resist the urge to check the clock repeatedly. Time is not your enemy. It is your witness. The moment is not slipping away. It is aligning perfectly. Surrender fully now. Release any lingering doubt. Release any hidden fear of success. Release any belief that you must struggle to deserve blessing. Those old patterns cannot follow you into expansion. You are stepping into a new rhythm. And in this rhythm, surrender becomes your strength. The final revelation approaches, and it will seal this moment not as a fleeting emotional experience, but as a permanent shift in how heaven responds to your agreement. Stay centered, because what comes next will determine how boldly you walk into what has already been prepared for you. Brave heart, the permanent shift begins the moment you decide that this is not temporary excitement, but a new standard for your life. What has unfolded on February 21st is not meant to fade when the hour passes. It is meant to rewire how you see provision, timing, and your own identity. Archangel Michael is still standing, but something has changed. The tension that once surrounded the cheque has softened into certainty. The enforcement has completed its cycle. The authorization stands uncontested. Now the focus turns to you, not to test you, but to establish you. Because a miracle claimed without a mindset shift becomes a memory instead of a movement. You were not interrupted today to feel inspired for a few minutes. You are called to align permanently. The $1 trillion miracle cheque represents a level of divine confidence in you. Heaven would not authorize magnitude if it expected you to misuse it. So ask yourself honestly, who are you becoming? Not who were you last year. Not who were you during your hardest season. Who are you becoming right now? The answer to that question determines how boldly you walk after this moment. There is something powerful about crossing a spiritual threshold knowingly. Most people drift into change unconsciously. You, however, are stepping forward intentionally. You are aware that something has shifted. You are aware that surrender unlocked acceleration. You are aware that multiplication follows alignment. This awareness is what makes the shift permanent. Archangel Michael's presence symbolizes protection over what begins now. Not just protection of resources, but protection of direction. You will notice increased clarity in decisions. Situations that once confused you will feel simple, Choices that once overwhelmed you will feel obvious. This is what happens when heaven establishes your footing. But listen carefully. The world will try to normalize what just happened. It will whisper, "That was just emotion," or "Nothing really changed." Do not accept that narrative. Internal shifts are the birthplace of external evidence. Just because something started invisibly does not mean it is imaginary. Guard this shift. Speak differently about your future. Expect differently from your efforts. Carry yourself differently in rooms that once intimidated you. The miracle check was symbolic of value, and value changes posture. And if this message has strengthened you, do not keep it to yourself. Like this video as a declaration that you are stepping into permanent alignment. Share it with someone who needs confirmation that their season of delay is ending. Comment boldly what you are claiming tonight. Subscribe to this channel if you are committed to walking in these divine shifts consistently. Join the membership if you feel called to stand closer to this mission and grow deeper in understanding. Because when you engage, you reinforce the shift within yourself and amplify it for others. There is also one more truth you must hold tightly. The treasury closed at its appointed hour, but what you secured does not close. What you aligned with continues. What you activated multiplies. What you surrendered into becomes your new rhythm. This is not about chasing miracles anymore. It is about managing momentum. Momentum is fragile in its early stages. It must be nurtured, protected, fed with faith. Do not allow negativity to choke it. Do not allow comparison to weaken it. Do not allow old habits to drain it. Archangel Michael's role now transitions from guarding a release to guarding your expansion. And expansion requires consistency. As the night deepens, feel the difference inside you. A calm authority, a steady assurance, a refusal to shrink. That is the permanent shift settling into place. And what you are about to understand next will reveal why this entire moment was not only about receiving from heaven, but about positioning yourself as a living testimony that draws others into their own appointed hour. Stay anchored, because the final revelation will seal everything that has begun. Steady flame, what has begun in you is no longer private. The shift you stepped into was never meant to remain hidden. February 21st was your appointed crossing, but the purpose of crossing is not isolation. It is influence. Archangel Michael did not guard your miracle simply so you could breathe easier. He guarded it because your testimony carries weight in realms you have not yet seen. When heaven invests at this level, it expects multiplication through impact. There are people watching your life quietly. Family members who have noticed your endurance. Friends who have seen you struggle yet remain faithful. Even strangers who sense there is something different about your spirit. When your breakthrough unfolds visibly, it will answer questions they were too hesitant to ask. That is why the shift must remain permanent. Temporary excitement cannot sustain influence. Only rooted transformation can. And what happened within you tonight was transformation at the core. The trillion-dollar miracle check symbolized value beyond calculation. But now that you have aligned with it, you must carry that value consciously. Stop speaking about yourself as if you are small. Stop minimizing your capacity. Stop rehearsing stories of limitation. You are not who you were before this alignment. Archangel Michael stands as a warrior of truth. His presence reminds you that identity is not defined by past failures. It is defined by divine assignment. When you walk into rooms from now on, carry yourself as someone entrusted with stewardship. Because you are. And here is something profound. You will begin to notice subtle confirmations in the coming days. Not loud, dramatic signs, but precise affirmations. a call that opens opportunity, an idea that generates strategy, a connection that leads to collaboration. These are not coincidences. They are evidence. Do not dismiss them. Heaven rarely announces itself with noise. It confirms itself with precision. When something aligns too perfectly to ignore, that is confirmation that the treasury release was real. But influence also attracts scrutiny. There may be people who question your sudden shift. Some may even project doubt onto you because your confidence unsettles their comfort. Do not absorb that energy. Remain calm. Remain grounded. Remain grateful. Archangel Michael did not argue with opposition. He stands firm until opposition dissolves. That is your model. Your testimony will not be loud boasting. It will be steady consistency. When others see you operating differently, calmer under pressure, clearer in decision, stronger in presence, they will recognize that something changed. And when they ask how, you will speak from experience, not theory. February 21st will become a marker in your personal history, a line that divides before and after. But what gives that date power is not the symbolism. It is your sustained alignment after it. There is one more layer you must understand now. The miracle was not simply provision. It was permission. Permission to think bigger. Permission to act bolder. Permission to pursue vision without apology. Permission changes behavior. When you know you are authorized, you stop hesitating. You stop over-explaining. You stop waiting for external approval. Archangel Michael's stance around you is a reminder that authorization came from heaven, not from people. As you move forward, expect doors that once seemed intimidating to open with ease. Expect conversations that once felt impossible to feel natural. Expect opportunities that once seemed distant to feel within reach. But do not rush. Walk deliberately. Steward wisely. Stay aligned. Because the final revelation will seal this entire journey with a declaration that turns your experience into a living altar. A visible sign that divine timing is real, that surrender unlocks multiplication, and that when heaven writes your name on something, it does not erase it. Hold your focus, because the closing words will establish this shift as covenant, not coincidence. Chosen vessel, this is the sealing moment. Not a dramatic ending, but a divine confirmation. February 21st was never about fear of a deadline. It was about awakening you to authorization. The treasury, the check, the urgency, none of it was meant to pressure you. It was meant to position you. And now you understand. Archangel Michael was not holding a $1 trillion miracle check to tempt you with wealth. He was standing as a witness to heaven's decision concerning your life. The signature was not about money. It was about identity. It was about heaven declaring, this one is ready. Ready for expansion. Ready for influence. Ready for stewardship. Ready for acceleration. The hour has passed, but what you aligned with has not expired. What you claimed in faith does not return to the treasury. It transfers into motion. Feel the difference in you now. There is no panic, no urgency, only steadiness. That steadiness is the seal. The cycle closed, but you did not miss it. You stepped into it. You surrendered. You aligned. You received. Archangel Michael now shifts from guardian of release to guardian of expansion. What has begun will be protected as it grows. Ideas will form with clarity. Connections will align with purpose. Provision will appear in forms you may not expect, but you will recognize it instantly because your spirit is now trained to discern. This is not hype. This is transformation. You will look back on this day and realize that the greatest miracle was not the check itself. It was the shift inside you. The fear that once delayed you has lost its authority. The doubt that once questioned your worth has been silenced. The hesitation that once held you back has dissolved. And now, you move differently. You speak with conviction. You decide with confidence. You expect with calm assurance. That is the true wealth. The trillion-dollar language symbolized value beyond limitation. But what heaven truly deposited was vision without restriction. You are no longer thinking in survival terms. You are thinking in stewardship terms. You are no longer asking, will I have enough? You are asking, how far can this expand? That question changes everything. Archangel Michael's presence around your destiny confirms one final truth. When heaven writes your name on something, it does not reconsider. It does not second guess. It does not revoke without cause. What was assigned to you was assigned because you were forged for it. From this day forward, walk as one authorized. When challenges arise, remember this alignment. When opportunities appear, embrace them boldly. When fear attempts to whisper again, remind it that your signature was already accepted in heaven. Type I walk in authorization in the comments if you are sealing this covenant over your life. Blessing code 1212 is now activated and sealed upon you. And as this covenant closes, hear this clearly. The same heavenly treasury that authorized your breakthrough is calling others into their appointed hour. When you release your support through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a channel. You are sowing into a field where souls are awakened before their windows close. The Lord declares, as you sow into my work, I will open the windows of heaven over you. When you feel that nudge to act, that is your obedience aligning with expansion, do not withhold your seed in a season of multiplication. Those who move now will see provision pursue them. Activate your support and become a living partner in spreading this light.